Hi everyone and good evening. Welcome to iNGO iSharing hosted by Youth Development Administration, Ministry of Education. And I'm Angel, CEO of Xinyang Foundation, which is a Taiwan-based organization focused on youth empowerment and international volunteering. Therefore, it's my honor to be your moderator for today. So before we kick off the event today, I would like to show you a video of an introduction of 2022 Global Youth Trend Forum. So now let's welcome the video.
"在自己有限的知识里探索更多这世界未知的事物，
sehingga kita tetap bisa bertemu orang secara online dan kita tetap bisa tukar budaya dan bertukar pemikiran.
For me, I think international forum should be a place where you can have experts, students, or young people come together to discuss a specific subject.
Include an opportunity to learn from experts, speakers who will be able to provide young people with ideas and inspiration on how they can come up with solutions or how they can work together towards a common goal.
Un lieu où chacun a droit à la parole et où tout le monde peut s'exprimer librement, sans tabou ni peur d'être jugé.
得た情報だけでなく他の国々の意見も交えながら考えていくことの大事さを知りました。
Join the forum.
Join the forum.
Join the forum.
Link up with the world.
So yes, join the forum. The annual 2022 Global Youth Trend Forum will be held on October 21st. The event has invited hotshot domestic and foreign guests to discuss international trends. And this year's theme is Metaverse Era, a new world for youth. So besides this big event, before the event, Youth Development Administration has prepared a series of online lead-in events by inviting Taiwanese youth affairs associations and partners from international organizations to conduct conversation and sharing. So today it's our third section of this lead-in event, which is also the final one. So I'm happy you joined us, and it's a great chance to have more knowing and more discussion about international trend of youth. Now I'm going to introduce two guests today. Oh, sorry, before that, let me remind you again, we have a prize draw event for sharing this live stream to win a great gift. So if you participate last two online section, you will know that there's very simple to join this game. There's only two steps. First is leave a comment below the live stream and share the live stream link on your personal social media. If you shared it on Facebook, please tag Global Youth Trend Forum fan page. And if you share on Instagram, you just add the hashtag Global Youth Trend Forum. And second step, just send a private message to the fan page, which include the screenshot of your comment and social media sharing. Then you will have chance to win the backpack gift after 2 weeks. So make sure you don't miss that. Now I'm going to introduce our guest today. So first, who is sitting next to me, it's Mr. Oliver Zhang, COO and co-founder from Impact Hub Taipei. So Oliver, can you say hi to our audience?
Hi, I'm Oliver. I've been an Impact Hub founder working on the ground with the Impact entrepreneurs in Taiwan for over the past year. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Oliver. And there's also one more guest participate online, who is Miss Shomy from Bangladesh and the co-founder of Malaysia's global youth organization, Awareness 360. So please say hi to us, Shomy.
Thank you, Angel. Hi, everybody. It's such an honor to be here. Really excited for our conversation later today.
Thank you, Shomy. So our time is very limited, so I will not waste any of it. So now I'm going to welcome Impact Hub Taipei to have the introduction of their organization. And me personally visit Impact Hub Taipei several times by attending some activity, also pay some visit to the startup team in the buildings. I think it's a magical building, always happening something interesting and something new. So I will just let Oliver to give more introduction of Impact Hub Taipei. And now the floor is yours, Oliver.
All right, so thank you, Angel, again for having me today. So before my introduction, I will just quickly introduce myself to all of you. So I'm Oliver. I'm the co-founder and director of Impact Taipei, and also I'm honored to be one of the inaugural core for the Obama Leaders APEC in 2019. So I'm a challenge taker. So as you know, that I've been on a entrepreneurial journey, so that I'm a challenge taker, and secondly that I love CSR and sustainability, and I always seeking opportunities to work with different stakeholders to achieve their goals towards a much sustainable world. And then the last would be that translocal collaboration, and that is always what I'm doing every day and every time while I was in the network. So there's just like basically introduction of myself. And then, before I embark on the introduction of our organization, that I would love to share the reason or the why, which is the values or the visions of myself. So while I was in the university, I was actually taking a major in education, but I was kind of like confused like so many young people or so many younger generations that I wasn't exactly knowing what I'm going to do in the future. If I'm going to be a teacher or not, I was quite confused. So during my time in the university, that I was trying a lot of things and exploring what exactly is I love or what exactly is not I'm not so in love with. So during that time, I also have a journey with some of my friends that we tour around Taiwan through biking, but we're not just doing the biking around, but instead that we do lots of educational services in quite several idle villages to support the kids over there. So I think that is something that I quite in love with, that is more kind of like socially connected with the society or even like the community. And the next would be that I took an internship at Medtronic, which is a world's global tech medical device company. I was there for an HR intern, but not just working on HR affairs, but I also was in charge the CSR or the sustainability things over there. And throughout my journey over there, I found I had a very huge passion on the CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, and also sustainability, and how a corporate can exactly support the local community to do better and to support more people for a better life. Yeah, so throughout my journey, I kind of like discovering my whys, why I'm just working on that, and why it leads me today to who I am today. So the first is that altruism, which is that I kind of like wish to be a public goods for the community, because I've got so many from my past journey. So I would really love to give back to the community, or even to give back to the society. And the second one is the global connections. I'm kind of have a huge passion to connect the dots from different networks or from different communities. And the last one would be the impact. So that is always something that I'm looking forward to achieving. So these are the whys. So in 2014, I found out the information about Impact Hub. So that is something that we are kind of interested in with my other co-founders, who is Rich and Sandy. So we decided to step onto the journey to start our own company for starting an Impact Hub in Taipei. So we spent around like 14 months without any pay and without any benefits from the journey. So back in 2015, that we've just successfully got the license from the Impact Hub Global Network, and then we got the opportunity to be able to bring Impact Hub to Taipei, finally. So what is Impact Hub? So Impact Hub is actually a global network, and we are the world's largest social innovation ecosystem building. And we are also recognized by the UN Geneva to be one of the drivers to achieve the sustainable development goals, which is SDGs, together around the world. So currently we are presented in over 107 locations, and now we have over 24,000 members around the world who are always working hard to create impact on various sectors and also various fields. So all around the world, that we use the global lens, the global SDGs as a lens through which to view our impact in the world. So as you see from my slides, that what we do are kind of linked to these 17 SDGs, and they can be categorized into 3 different realms. So which is economic growth, and then social progress and environmental protections. And these are the passions of all of the members and all of the makers around the world. All right, so around the journey, along the journey, that we find that starting a company is never an easy job, especially that you want to using business as a force for good. So so afterwards that we seek to be certified, to be a certified big corporation. So that is to really to redefine success of a business through through the certification. So we are the first Impact Hub in Mandarin-speaking region, and also we are the first B Corp certified Impact Hub in APEC, which is to really hoping to redefine success and also to redefine the success of a business. Yeah. So locally in Taipei, that we provide consultancy for corporates and governments, and also we do incubation and accelerations for social enterprises and nonprofits, and then we try to connect resources and then to catalyze collaboration as to build a quite unique ecosystem locally. So these are our services, or what we do locally. So we work quite closely with the entrepreneurs, corporates, and different stakeholders for impact through these 4 pillars. So the first is space innovation and operation, and the second would be incubation and acceleration, and the third part would be sustainability consulting. And the fourth would be global community and network, that we are part of the global network, and we do wish to connect the local entrepreneurs or social enterprises to the other communities and networks as well. All right, so I'm just going to introduce a little bit more on our 4 different pillars. So the first is that we have a space. So we renovate idle space, and which are kind of like quite old, like they are old buildings. They're kind of like over 60 years old building, and then we renovate them into innovative space, and also like flexible spaces for supporting social enterprises and nonprofit organizations. And in the space, which is like space is quite important for us, because there will be somewhere that we can connect various people, like various youth or various social enterprises or startups, or even like the corporates. So that will be really important for us to have a space to connect people and then to catalyze the collaborations. And then the second one is on the sustainability consulting. So for example, that we've just collaborated with IKEA recently on advocacy and education. So we curate a exhibition, and which is on marine debris. So it is more kind of like on the ocean topics, which is kind of trendy nowadays because of the net zero, or even like for the climate actions. So we support corporates to do the consulting, and then to try to advocate to the public and the youth. And then we also do incubation and acceleration. So here is one of the examples that the youth can exactly access to the funding and get personalized workshops and also like the mentorship and networking. Yeah, and then another example that is on innovation for well-being, and that is in collaboration with another corporate to support younger generations to hack on new ideas, especially on health as well as wealth. These are the two topics that we are seeking innovative ideas from the younger generations. And then, so for global community and network, we also collaborate with Yokohama City. The program is on Gen Z Lab. So it is kind of like a solve-a-thon that we connect the younger generations in Taiwan and Japan together. So we're kind of like using technology, and then people can exactly exchange ideas and hack together through online tools. So these are our formula. So how exactly we are supporting younger generations is that we're supporting the entrepreneurial action through community. And in the community that we do inspiration. So like the first is inspire, that we curate events, that we host various talks, various sessions to inspire more younger generations. And then we have a space so that we can exactly connect these younger generations together at our space. And then the enable would be more kind of like incubation and acceleration. So these are some more the formula that we are supporting the entrepreneurial action, and then we can together make measurable positive impact. So I think this is the end of my sharing, just very briefly. So I'll just back to you, Angel.
Thank you, Oliver. You can see there's a lot of things to say, and it's okay. We will still have time. Later, we will have more discussion about the project and the value we were talk about. So now I'm going to give the floor to our second guest, Shomy? Shomy? Yes. Okay. Shomy is from a global nonprofit organization, also youth organization founded in Malaysia, which is Awareness 360. The organization has empowered youth by implementing community service projects that meet UN's SDGs. As for today, listen to me, more than 150,000 people in 25 countries has been directly benefited by their activities. So it's a lot. And I'm so honored to have Shomy here to share more about their project and also her personal inspiring story. So now the floor is yours, Shomy.
Thank you so much, Angel. I hope I'm audible. Okay, I think I see my slide. I hear myself too. I'm getting an echo, but I'm going to continue anyway. I hope the audience can hear me. Anyway, so hi everybody. My name is Shomy Hasan Chowdhury. I am from Bangladesh. As you can see on my slide, Bangladesh is a tiny country in South Asia. It's a tiny
Shomy.
Activist.
I think,
okay, I'm just going to try to go to my next slide.
Yeah, maybe you can continue because we just lost your voice, but now it's back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the slide is also working now. Anyway, so I have been an ambassador for my country since the age of 16. Fun fact about me is I like taking photos of toilets. As a WASH activist, WASH is an acronym which stands for Water, Sanitation, and Hygiene, which I'll be using a lot during my presentation. As a WASH activist, I do use this hobby for my advocacy work. So I like collecting photos of toilets, which I later use for my advocacy and campaigns. I am, in terms of my academic background, I graduated in economics from University of Malaysia. I recently graduated with a master's degree in global affairs from the Schwarzman Scholars Program, so I'm a Schwarzman Scholar. And I'm involved with multiple organizations in several leadership and advisory positions. For example, I'm an advocate of global citizen. I'm a U.S. State Department specialist. I work with Youth Collab, the Diana Award, Social Shifters, Global Change Makers, UNDP, and many more. But today, for the sake of our limitation of time, I will be focusing on my nonprofit, which is my baby. It's called Awareness 360. So what is Awareness 360? It is a global youth-led organization. It's a nonprofit organization. And currently, actually, I think the stat that was taken was not updated. It was pre-pandemic, but we are working across 30 plus countries in Asia, Africa, and Europe to empower young people with transferable skills, resources, mentorship that they need in order to identify community issues and so that they can come up with their own solutions. The projects that our members do are in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the UN SDGs guiding framework is what we use to sort of guide our activities in the organization. So as I said earlier, a little bit about my personal story. So I started working on different volunteering work, community service work since the age of 13. And when I was 16, I got the opportunity to go to the US as a youth ambassador, as an exchange student. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to do community service. And I did a record number of community service hours. It was 460, which earned me the President's Volunteer Service Gold Award from President Barack Obama. And this award really motivated me to think about, I came to the United States, I did all these hours of work, I got the award from the president, very cool. But what about my own country where I truly belong? So I started thinking about how I can pick up the skills that I gained from, the US, and how could I bring those back to my own community? As I got back, I started getting involved with different activities, with different organizations, national, international, and at a local level. Over the last decade, I have grown to be a very passionate WASH activist. So through my organization and as a WASH activist, I guess roughly I could divide my work into two spectrums, two ways. One is at the grassroots level. So through Awareness 360, we work with the sex workers community, the sewerage workers community, the people living in slums, people living in pavements, school children, refugees, so really vulnerable, marginalized, left behind communities. We work to ensure that they have their access to water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities. They are aware about it. So we focus a lot on the awareness component, ensuring that our campaigns are inducing a behavioral change. That's how we measure our impact. And in the other hand, we also connect our grassroots level work, and we share those stories at high level decision-making spaces. So you can see some of these photos where I was speaking at the Global Citizen Festival, addressing a crowd of over 60,000 people. I have spoken at the United Nations. I have, this photo is from the Kensington Palace, where I had the opportunity to meet His Royal Highness Prince William. So in all of these different spaces, as a Diana Legacy Award recipient, this one was at Queen Elizabeth's birthday. So in different events, I have had the opportunity to share my story, to share my work, to share what Awareness 360 does, to really make sure that there is an increased investment in the water, sanitation, and hygiene space. So that's sort of roughly what I do, or what we do as Awareness 360 team. Now, you might be wondering, out of all of these different causes and topics in the world, what motivated me to become a WASH activist? And this is something that I say to young people a lot, which is find your passion in what bothers you, because that's how I found my passion. Unfortunately, me being a WASH activist is connected to the most tragic personal story of mine. So 8 years ago, in 2014, my mother passed away from diarrhea. And she was obviously the most important person in my life. She was sick for only one day, and she died suddenly. So I was shocked. I was devastated. I couldn't accept this fact that someone can actually die from a disease, from a preventable disease like diarrhea in this day and age. And I wanted to do something about it. And when I found out that it's not just my mother, even though for me, she's my entire world, but actually she's a very tiny drop in the ocean. And 4.5 billion people do not have safely managed sanitation. Water, sanitation, and hygiene is a global issue. Like my mother, there are thousands of victims out there who are, suffering from preventable diseases like diarrhea, cholera, etc. on a regular basis. And a lot of them are also dying. So I felt the need to do something about it. Obviously, it was too late to save my own mom, but I thought that I could save potentially other people from going through that same emotion and the memories that haunt me every day. So 4 days after my mother's passing, I did my first water, sanitation, and hygiene talk at a sewerage workers community. And there I realized the incredible power of storytelling. Even though it was, the pain was very raw. It was literally 4 days after my mom's passing. It was very difficult for me to go up on stage and hold a microphone and just address people and talk to them about, hand washing steps and water filtration techniques and menstrual hygiene management and all of these different aspects of water, sanitation, and hygiene. But at the same time, I discovered the power of storytelling, and I realized how people can connect through stories, how people can connect through each other's, how people can feel and relate more through stories rather than numbers and statistics. So that is really how I found my passion. I found my true calling. And a few months after, I met my now best friend, who is Rijvi Arifin, and together we co-founded Awareness 360 because we wanted to create a platform through which we could train young people, we could empower them with the skills through which they can exercise their own passion. Just how I'm passionate about WASH, another young person may be passionate about climate action, another person may be passionate about quality education or more, and which is why we didn't want to restrict ourselves or the organization to only one cause, which is why we adopted the UN Sustainable Development Goals framework, and we have been working towards that. So what do we provide youths with? So we have different fellowship programs, different internship programs through which we try to build the employability skills, the leadership skills, communication skills, etc. for the youths who join our team and our organization. We provide them with different resources. We connect them with different networks. We provide them with mentorship. And most importantly, it's a global family where we inspire each other to be change makers, to make this world a better place. So these are some latest stats. Post-pandemic, so we are currently working across 30 plus countries, across 3 continents. We have had members from all 6 continents, as a matter of fact, but these were the Asia, Africa, and Europe is where we are more actively operating in. Through our projects, we have directly benefited 1.1 million beneficiaries till date. And you might be wondering how it has been possible for us to scale that much, to be working with young people from countries where I personally have never been even. And it is really, it comes down to just one thing, the power of technology. Through technology, through digital tools, through social media, we have been able to, create all this impact through all of these young people all around the world. And as I mentioned earlier, WASH is one of our key focus areas in the organization. So these are some photos from some of our projects. These are some quality education project where we fundraise to provide dropout school kids with facilities that they need, clearing their tuition for the entire year. That's in Zimbabwe, I believe. The other one on the left is before after of a trash cleanup project in Cameroon, and so on. You can go to our Facebook page, Awareness 360. It's a verified page on Facebook where you can check out our photos and albums and understand more about what we do. Some of the challenges quickly that we face is, the fact that we work on different sensitive topics. For example, menstruation. It's a very taboo topic in many countries, including in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, like in the South Asian region, also in many African countries. And when we talk about these things, it becomes very hard to get access to these communities. Sometimes we're not as welcomed as we would like to be in our beneficiary communities. So there's a community reluctance there. And while working with youths, working with so many volunteers, sometimes burnout is another problem. So we're taking the mental health and well-being of our members very seriously. Patriarchy is another issue which I have personally faced in becoming a WASH activist. I've seen how patriarchy is very much deeply embedded even in the WASH space. And how did I overcome those hurdles? It's really reminding myself of my why, reflect on how far we have come, trying to solve the root cause, being adaptive to changes. COVID happened out of nowhere. We had to go through a lot of different challenges during that time, and identifying your support system. And we're very thankful and privileged to have been recognized globally for our work, for example, by Samsung and UNDP. We're part of the Generation 17 program. Myself and my co-founder made it to the Forbes 30 under 30 list as the featured honoree under social impact in 2021, and so on. But I guess the biggest achievement for us is really the impact that we have created. Just as Oliver was mentioning through his wonderful presentation, we also focus a lot on sustainability and long-term impact. So yeah, I guess that's it for my presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shomy. Well, it's for sure very enriched content, and thank you for your briefly introduction. And now we are going to next section that we can have more discussion. And first, the question I would like to drop is, we've heard a lot of network, like Olive, you said Impact Hub, it's a global network. And also Shomy told us that there's more than 1 million people are directly benefit from your network. You empower youth to be their local activists and the volunteer to do their own change. So because in our forum we talk about metaverse, we talk about technology. So how can technology can be used to promote cross-border collaboration of global youth to connect and even collaborate with each other? So maybe you can give us some example how you use maybe social medias, or how you can use some digital platform to really connect and to really empower the youth on different countries. So maybe Oliver, you can be the first one to share.
Yeah, sure. So I think currently the current generations are more kind of Generation Z. So I think they are born as digital natives. So they are quite familiar with new technologies. And as a result, we can collaborate anytime and anywhere. And I think compared to my generation, so it is much convenient nowadays, thanks to the technology. So I think we are using technology as somewhere that we can collect more data and information. So we don't really have to go to the site and then to stay over there and then to do the interviews or do something else and to collect the information. So I think this would be something that we can make good use of to collect data and collect information. And also, social media nowadays is quite convenient as well for those of us. Like Shomy and I, we were not connected before, but thanks to LinkedIn or thanks to Facebook, that we are connected by our shared friends or our similar friends together, and then we can connect, and then we can try to talk and then find synergies to see if there will be something that we can collaborate. So there will be something that we can make good use of the social media to connect. And then I think technology will be there will be another feature for the technologies is the feature of gamification. So gamifying will be something fun for training or for workshops. So for example, that I've just mentioned through the collaboration that we are having with Yokohama City is that we use Gather Town. So Gather Town will be somewhere that we can house so many participants together, and then we can hack, and then we can collaborate over Gather Town seamlessly. So I think that would be something that we can do with technologies.
I think Gather Town is a great example that it's a new platform to gather people around, but it's not really gather people, but we can use it to a lot of different application. So maybe Shomy, you can share something with us with this opinion.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree with what Oliver said. I think, right now, the fact that I'm speaking from my bedroom to so many Taiwanese youths is a great example to show how technology can bring us closer, right? And I think during the pandemic, it was very important and played a very integral role in making sure that we are not feeling, extremely lonely, given that our in-person activities were minimized. And something good that I think came about this is that For example, earlier in different conferences and gatherings like this, where things were more focused in person, we saw that they were not as inclusive because not everyone has the luxury or the privilege to travel, all the way to the US or to wherever to attend those things. But now you can always have an in-person as well as like a hybrid component where, anybody, any young person from any part of the world can join and share their opinion on something, right? Now somebody can ask me a question directly, which I don't think I would have the answer or the way to interact with if I were not here, right? Some of the projects that we have done, like technology is really at the heart of Awareness 360. As I mentioned earlier, like I have not been to all the 30 plus countries that we work at, but I know that Awareness 360 work is being done there, right? And for example, during 2020, like right after the pandemic started, the rape case was actually at an all-time high in my country, which is when we launched a hackathon on dismantling gender-based violence, where we had over 13 partners. They were like different stakeholders. We had UNDP as a partner. We had Global Citizen as a partner, and it has definitely leveraged a lot of attention to this cause, to this issue. We were able to gather 50 students from all across the country who were sharing about different issues, like different aspects of the gender-based violence. They were coming up with different solutions. So I think these things are really beautiful and can play a very important role in driving change. Even from an organization perspective, like how we lead or run an organization, technology can play such an important role. So for example, my team is international, right? And I can advertise my hiring opportunity on LinkedIn, and I get applications from all of these different places, right? So I think technology, digitalization, these things are very important. Even when, let's say, we are applying for a fundraising, whatever, like, or we can, using different devices, we can make videos of our impact directly. We can show the impact to our donors, right? And then that can generate more investment for the future. So I think things can be more transparent. We can record through, like Oliver was mentioning about the importance of data. We can show a better representation of our impact using technology. So I think there are a multitude of ways through which technology can be leveraged for the better.
Yeah, thank you, Shomy, to give us some insight of it. And because our audience, most of our audience are Taiwanese, so I'd like to invite you to say more about how the internet accessible in your network. Like, because you said your network partner from more than 30 countries. Is there any country or any region that they are not so easy to access to internet, or maybe their platform they use is not not similar with us, different platform or a different way they use? So maybe you can give us some picture of this global and cross-border example of applying technology.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. This like navigating through the different priorities of different platforms in different countries is definitely a challenge for us. So for example, in some countries, they don't use Facebook as much. In some countries, you can use Google. In some countries, so but Instagram is more relevant. So this kind of issues we do face. However, I think which is where we try to be a bit more adaptive, and we have multiple options. So for example, we have WhatsApp groups. We also have Messenger group with like ambassadors from like countries where Messenger is more relevant to them. So we never want to like force a particular platform onto them just to be a part of us, right? So I think that is one way to solve it. But I think the bigger issue is the digital gap, the digital divide, which is ever growing, that we have seen even during the pandemic, where thousands of young people and students and children were out of school just because they didn't have a device or internet connectivity. Yes. So that is something we see in an organizational way as well. For example, we see that majority of the applications we get are from the city-based groups. not from the rural youth, right? But how do we reach out to them? So we don't unfortunately have that capacity to provide them with, I mean, it is definitely an issue that is much larger that the country should be looking into. But in that case, how we try to mitigate that issue is that we have a country ambassador who has, access to internet so that they can connect with us digitally, but we ensure that they reach out to other youth who may not have internet, but sort of be the leader, but make sure that they're also part of their activities in that country. So that's sort of how we try to engage more young people in our operations.
It's glad to hear that, yes, we face some challenge of the accessible to the internet, but it won't be our obstacle. We can still develop some skills or some way to really make it work. So great for your sharing. And now we are going to end this session. I would like to bring the final question of the discussion. So we talk a lot of implanting technology and get networking to others. So maybe now we can see the future workplace. It's so important to use technology as our tools and as our tools to really do what we want to make our goal happen. So maybe both of you can give our audience some insights or suggestion that how can we train ourselves, or how can we cultivate our skills to really be a competitive talent to really face the future challenge, especially when we are going to meet the SDGs, we are going to make the world better. So how can we be prepared to be the better talent? So I don't know who can be the first one to give us some insights. Maybe not the correct answer, but some inspiration for us.
Shomy, you want to go first, or?
No, you can go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of the, I'll just call it kind of like a future talent. Yeah. I think that would be something that I share in the past to several audiences or to the younger generations. I think it will be more kind of mindset instead. So it is really to having a mindset, and that is kind of like an entrepreneurial mindset, or even like a flexible mindset. So the first one would be, I think, for adopting digital tools, because like every time we are adopting digital tools or using technologies, there will be some learning curves. So it is really to have a mindset to be open. So there will be a kind of flexibility and adaptation to change. So you have to really be open to learn new things and really be open to embrace. There will be some fuck ups, or there will be some failures. And the second one would be, I think there will be kind of trial and error. So it is always long time efforts. So you really have to try, and then like during the trial, and you will find there will some like it works or it doesn't work. And then I think the third one would be kind of like be human, because like though we are using technology, but technology is to support our life to be better. So you have to really be human, and you have to care for your team or care for your participants instead of just using the technology. So I think that will be something that we are learning through the COVID times as well.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for Oliver, and maybe Shomy, you can adopt something.
Yeah, completely. I very much agree with what Oliver mentioned. There are so many different platforms that you can learn. I think we are at a stage in this world where it is not enough anymore to be good at just one thing, because the competition is higher. The youth unemployment problem is that rising pretty much all around the world. So I think to really prepare ourselves, you should have multiple options at your disposal. So for example, if you learned, I don't know, if you're from the social science background, it shouldn't hurt you to learn coding, for example. You could learn to build a website, right? You could learn photography, the art of storytelling, branding, the marketing. Like there are so many different options. And I think, again, internet makes things easier for us. Now it's at the tip of our finger. There are many different online options to learn. There are free courses as well as paid courses. If you can't afford the paid courses, you could always go to YouTube, watch some videos just to gain some ideas. You don't have to be an expert in every single thing, but it's good to have that knowledge. Like Oliver mentioned, be open to learning new things. Like for example, different organizations use different platforms. For example, we use Discord, another organization use Slack, and this sort of like different collaborative tools and digital tools that different platforms use. So if you're very much used to, let's say, Slack, it doesn't mean that you should not learn about Discord at all, right? So it always helps to be to learn new things. In some way, in some shape or form, you will be able to use it. If you're good at, let's say, I don't know, music or something, you could become an artivist and see how you can connect your passion for, all of these causes with art, right? Music or whatever. So I think there are so many different ways through which we can advocate and champion the SDGs and all of these different causes.
Yeah, thank you, Shomy. I think both of you mentioned that because the world now, a world keep changing. Therefore, we have to keep learning. We don't have to be the master of something, but we have to have our own growth mindset. So make sure we are still on the path of learning pathway. So thank you for the suggestion and some insight for the audience. So now I will pick up some questions from our comments, and I found out more than half of it are about challenge. So maybe I can start from Oliver, because first you mentioned that you have more than 1 year in the beginning of the entrepreneurship. You don't have pay more than 14 months. So why don't you quit? Or how can you survive? And how you manage and how you face the challenge? Maybe you can give some detail and some, I don't know, idea of it.
I think I've just mentioned, and also like Shomy has mentioned through her presentation, the passion. So you really have to know your passion, or you really have to know your purpose, because I think that will be something that is quite supportive to your dream or to your action plans. Because like throughout the journey, it's always never easy, and it is always kind of lonely. But if you know why you are doing and what you are trying to achieve, I think there will be some kind of like light, like directing you to somewhere in the future. So I think that is kind of like a challenge, and then how exactly that we overcome through that. And like, of course, there are so many challenges to be mentioned. So I'm not pretty sure if we have like enough time to,
we can have another
to share
1 hour to say about this.
Yeah, because there are always so many obstacles and challenges. But I think you really have to know like why you are here and why you are doing, and then that will lead you to somewhere in the future. And if you are interested in our challenges, I'm really happy to have like some more conversations with you, like privately or in another session.
Yeah, so back to the sentence that start with why. So really keep the why in your heart, and when you face any obstacle and any challenge, you will know why you are here. And about Shomy, there's some question about Awareness 360. So people asking, what's the most challenging thing you encounter when you're founding the organization? Also, maybe what's the most challenging project you have executed? So I don't know which one you can share with us and give us more picture about this.
Sure. I guess I'll talk about a challenging project, because that is one of the challenges which is sort of common in terms of the kind of communities we engage with. So for example, when we first worked with a sex workers community, so the sex workers community is the most stigmatized community in Bangladesh. And to get access to them is super difficult. So we had to, go through like a range of challenges to simply get access to them, like to just enter the brothel. And when we finally got the permission, our potential beneficiaries, they themselves were like, oh no, we don't have time for you, because it's a very difficult environment there, right? And they thought that maybe we're there to hamper their business or harm them in some way, because they're not used to outsiders that much. And they were like, oh no, we don't need you. You know, our girls sleep during the day. We don't have time. Blah blah blah. But then we had to, you know, like go there multiple times to just convince them that we are there simply to talk about sanitation, hygiene, menstrual hygiene, things like that. And it has nothing to do with what they do, because that is a whole different topic. And 90% of these girls are actually victims of human trafficking, and you know, all kinds of people live there. And we thought, and the fact that they live in extremely unhygienic condition is what motivated us to do a wash campaign there. Anyway, so when we finally convinced them, we got a date, we got a time, everything set. But we were finding challenge in terms of getting volunteers because of the stigma associated with it. No parents would want their kids to go to a brothel to work for, you know, even my own dad, who is usually very supportive of my work. He was like, are you sure you want to do this? Why don't you go to a different community, right? Just because of the whole shame and embarrassment associated with this particular community. And then we needed to get like the permission from the district commissioner, which was another whole bureaucratic process. We had to, you know, get the police on board just to ensure that we had protection. Some of the people there were like teasing our volunteers when we finally were there. We had to go really early in the morning because we needed to create the stage that very morning. Because if we did that a day before, then at night people get drunk, they might break the stage and things like that. So there are so many different nuances that we had to take care of. And then when we started the project, finally, after all of these barriers, they were not engaging with us that well. They were very sensitive to the things we were talking about because they're not used to it, right? So then we had to change our whole agenda on stage instantly, and then come up with different games and quizzes and play different music and that they're used to, and just to sort of break the ice and get them on board. And in the end, it was a very successful project. We also recently, you know, when we went back during the pandemic, they were like, oh, you came back, you taught us hand washing 4 years ago, which we now see in the TV all the time, you know, so they could relate. And then we provided them with like different sewing machines. We taught them how to make their own menstrual cloth pads, which they are now, it can be an alternative source of income for them. We're trying to help them in a multitude of ways now, and we have built a trust-worthy relationship between us, which is great. But it all started from that very challenging topic. And as Oliver said, it was really passion that really drove us forward and made us not give up.
Oh my God, thank you, Shomy. Thank you sharing such rich treasure and really make the whole picture so clear to our audience. I personally have entered slum in Africa, so I know what you said, and I know the challenge there. And I know sometimes it's not about technical challenge, it's about the communication and also the cultural background, it's different. So keep trying, keep communicating. It's the most hard thing to do, but it's the only way to make it work. So I'm so impressed of your team and your story. And yeah, so now we are going to end this section. I'm sorry, there's so many questions, but we don't have enough time. So now I will just give you a few minutes. Maybe you can share some insight or some sentence to our audience to give a conclusion of today's event. So maybe Oliver, you can be the first one.
Right, sure. I'm really appreciate to having me today, and also like it's really inspiring to hear what Shomy has shared to the audiences as well. So I think my takeaways or my my insights to end or to conclude the session would be, yeah, it's really like to discover your why and to find your why, and then stick with that. So you just like you have to show that you believe in yourself, and then you have to really to take action, just like Shomy. Yeah, she discovered the problems, and then she find the solutions, and then she took the action for that. So you really have to do something to really make it happen, and then you have to focus, and then also like don't be afraid of failures, because like throughout the journey to starting an organization or even like to start up to start a social enterprise is never easy, but you really have to just make it happen and then just try and then learn from every failures. So I think that will be my takeaways for that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, learn from the failures. We will have some failures, so don't be afraid of it, but learn from it and prepare for that. Thank you, Oliver. And now, Shomy, maybe it's your turn to give us some sentence to conclude the section.
Of course. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure sharing this time with you, Angel, and with Oliver. Well, the last thing that I guess I'd like to tell the audience is that, when we have titles tagged with us, such as activist, campaigner, leader, change maker, we often take this burden so much because we are so passionate, right? We are so passionate about changing the world that we forget about ourselves. We forget that we are human too. We forget about our own mental health and well-being, which I think is so critical. So, if you are facing challenges, be authentic with your team. Tell them that you need a break. Because if you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if you are not doing well yourself, you can only go so far. So as a leader, as a change maker, as an activist, as a campaigner, whatever you call yourself, or think you are, at the end of the day, you have to ensure that you are doing well yourself. Only then you can, efficiently lead your team and achieve that ultimate goal that you have set for yourself and for your team. So yeah, that's it for me for today. Thank you.
What the important lessons. I think we should see ourselves work for the long-term goal, not just for reach some short-term, object to finish the project. No, you have to take care like a whole life long-term goal. So you have to take care of yourself and also be part of the team, be included in a team, and don't forget teamwork lasts longer. So thank you, Shomy, to give us some conclusion and suggestion. So today's event is going to end, and I'm so honored to be the moderator today. Even for me, I gained so much. I believe our audience also gained a lot from the conversation today. So I'm going to end, and I will just use the final 3 minutes to remind you that although the leading event is come to the end, but our main event are going to just happen on October 21st, where during the live stream, the Global Youth Trend Forum 2022 will have a lot hotshot guests such as Minister of Digital Affairs Audrey Tong and Acer Group founder Stan Shi, One Young World ambassador and fire founder Patrick Gauri, and the founding president of Minerva University, Ms. Teri. Those hotshot guests will have their conversation and speak to us. There's a lot of enriched contents I will like to invite you. Don't miss that. And the theme of the year, it's Metaverse Era, a new world for youth. So if you want to join us in exploration of impact and challenge youth face with digital technology in social media interaction, the workplace, and their personal life, as well how they can be addressed, then you won't want to miss that. So don't forget the live stream and make sure you save the day on your calendar. So now I'm going to, once again, I would like to thank Oliver and thank Shomy to join our conversation today, and thank all of you in front of the computer, in front of the live stream. I'm so honored to be here, and let's see you on October 21st. So goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.